Alright, Chapter 4, Section 3, Solving Inequalities, Multiplication, and Division. So, we're going to solve these very similar to how we solved equations. Okay, there's going to be one new rule that we're going to get to in a couple minutes. But first, we still have to make sure we solve it and graph it. Right, so when I'm solving, I'm still going to draw my line right down through the inequality. Remember, a number next to a variable means multiplication, so the inverse of multiplication is division. I'm multiplying by 8, so the inverse is dividing by 8. Whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. Inverses cancel, I bring down my variable. Bring down your inequality. 8 divided by 8 is 1. Draw my number line, or whatever number that is, that goes in the middle. 1 less than 1, 1 greater than 1. So what number that I put in for x is greater than 1? Is 0 greater than 1? Or is 2 greater than 1? Okay, well 2 is greater than 1. It's not an or equal to sign, so it's going to be an open circle going towards the 2. That's going to make that statement true. Okay, on the next one. I'm dividing by 5. Inverse of dividing by 5 is multiplying by 5. Whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. My 5's cancel. I bring down your variable, bring down your inequality. 2 times 5 is 10. And we draw our graph. Okay, so I'm going to replace my two outside numbers with r. Remember, this is the part where if you can do it in your head, that's fine. But if you need to go off to the side, please do. So is 9 less than or equal to 10? Yes. Is 11 less than or equal to 10? No. So I'm going to have a closed circle going towards my answer, which is 9. Remember, make sure our line is directly on this line, the black line. Don't put it above. Make sure it's directly on the line. Okay, let's look at the third one. Number next to a variable means multiplication, so we need to divide. So 3 divided by 3, I cross that out, bring down your variable. Inequality is less than. Now I have negative 3 halves divided by 3. I cannot do that in my head, so I'm going to go off to the side. Negative 3 halves divided by 3, so 3 over 1. Remember, I don't divide fractions. I keep change flip. Right, I can cross cancel. So I end up with negative 1/2. So on my number line, I have negative 1/2. So a couple things you can do here. One, you can change your numerators or you can change your denominators. It doesn't really matter which one you want to do. I think it's a little more sensible to change your numerator. So what is less than negative 1? Or negative 1, that would be a negative 2 over 2. I'm just going to keep it like that to make it a little easier. I'm actually going to put 0 over 2. Now you could change this to negative 1 and also change this to 0 if you wanted. If you want to keep it just like that, it's fine. So negative 1/2 is less than negative 2. Remember, when we're doing this, we're really just comparing the numerators. So negative 1 is less than negative 2. No. Negative 1 is less than 0. Yes. So open circle going towards the 0. Now let's flip it to the back. This is where we are going to kind of make a difference. So sorry, flip it back to the front. When we change, or when we multiply or divide each side of the inequality by a negative, the direction of the inequality symbol must be reversed for the inequality to remain true. Okay, so that's going to be our one rule. When we multiply or divide by a negative, we must flip our sign. So for example, I'm still going to start off the same way. Okay, if I'm multiplying by negative 2, that means I have to divide by negative 2. Whenever I do to one side, I do to the other. Okay, so what happens is 4 divided by negative 2 is negative 2. I have to flip this sign for the statement to be true. So what I mean by that is, if I pick a number that's less than negative 2, so for example 0, if I were to put that into my inequality, if I do negative 2 times 0, if I have 0 is greater than 4 without flipping the sign, that is not true. Okay, but when I flip the sign, it becomes a true statement. 0 is less than 4. Okay, so that is why we have to flip it to make the statement true. Okay. Now we still have to graph. So negative 2 goes in the middle. Okay, so which of these numbers is less than negative 2? That would be negative 3. So it's an open circle going to the. Again, make sure our line sticks so you can see it. All right. So on the next one, I'm just going to rewrite it here. Ran out of room. Okay, so I have x divided by negative 3 less than 21. So I'm dividing by negative 3, so that means I have to multiply by a negative. Remember, just like in the last problem, whenever I'm dividing or multiplying by a negative, that means my inequality sign has to flip. Okay, that's probably the easiest thing to do is do it first, so then it's done and you don't have to worry about it anymore. My negatives 3 cancel. I bring down my variable. 21 times negative 3 is negative 63. And we got to graph it. Okay, so once again, not an or equal to sign, so it's an open circle. And what number is greater than negative 63? That would be negative 62. Alright, in this last problem I'm gonna change it. Draw a line underneath, so we're gonna make it greater than or equal to. Okay, because we haven't had one of these on the back yet. So once again, I'm dividing by negative 3. So that means I need to multiply by a negative 3. Whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. I'm multiplying by a negative. That means my sign flips. My negative 3 cancels. Bring down my v. Negative 3 times negative 2 is a positive 6. And now I graph. It is a closed circle because it's an or equal to. And 6 is less than or equal to what number? 5 or 7? Well, 6 is less than 7. So I'm going to be going towards the 7. Alright, so the biggest thing we have to remember, whenever I multiply or divide by a negative, my inequality sign has to flip, okay, to make the statement true. So on the bottom, whenever you are multiplying or dividing by a negative on both sides, you change your sign. Alright, remember, look at the bottom here for your rule, and it will kind of help you out, and use our 6 practice problems for your 5 practice problems. Alright, make sure we are showing all your work, and once again, make sure we are graphing all of our solutions.